Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wrestling Discussions. On today's episode, we got another big one. So, I'm going to be talking a little bit about tonight's Monday Night Raw, giving some predictions on that, some thoughts, that sort of thing, like always. I'm also going to talk about CM Punk. Now, I know, I talked about him in yesterday's episode. I talked about him sometime like a week or two ago. I talked about him 3 or 4 weeks ago. I know I've had a couple videos here and there mentioned about CM Punk, but here's the thing. Here's something that, I gotta say. Here's something that I need, I think you guys should know is that, this channel it's going to have a lot of the same repetitiveness at times because new information breaks out every day in professional wrestling. It just so happens that we are getting more and more information daily right now about a potential return from CM Punk. So I'm going to talk about that tonight. I'm also going to talk a little bit about thoughts and predictions on tonight's Monday Night Raw. So let's start with that. So on tonight's Monday Night Raw, we have been confirmed that we will see a six-woman tag match between Asuka, Carmella, and Nikki Cross taking on the team of Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Natalya. Now, there's two different ways to look at this. You can look at this as they selected these teams because one team is all Monday Night Raw and the other team is all SmackDown, or you can look at it as one team is the heels and one team is the baby faces. In this case, the heels are fairly obvious: Carmella, Nikki Cross, and Asuka. Now, I don't see Asuka as a heel currently. I actually see her as someone who has went through a dark side, yes, but is still just incredibly entertaining and incredibly over with the fans. And especially after the pop she got at the Royal Rumble. And I'm really excited to see her in action tonight. I really want to see her fight Carmella. Sorry, not Carmella. I really want to see her kind of just show her skills. And I feel like whoever wins, whichever team wins, I feel like this match is only going to end in chaos. Because we are less than a week away from Elimination Chamber. This Saturday is Elimination Chamber. And if you want my thoughts and predictions on that, don't forget to tune in to Saturday's video, which will contain all of that. And obviously Sunday's video will have the results, but I'll talk a little bit about that as we get closer. But again, this match is obviously going to, in my opinion, going to end in some chaotic format. It's going to have some chaotic juices flowing to it because of the simple fact that this match is it has such an intensity going into Elimination Chamber. This is to decide who's going to go to WrestleMania. And in my opinion, all six of these women have earned a right throughout their career to go to WrestleMania, to fight for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Now, personally, going into this tag match, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Natalya are three women right now that I think are on top of their game. I think Natalya needs a little bit more of a push. But I think Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez have been on fire. I think they've been pushed and pushed and pushed and motivated beyond belief. And I also think that going over to the Monday Night Raw side of things, going over to Nikki Cross and Carmella and Asuka, I think all three of those women are very talented as well. I think Nikki Cross and Asuka really earned their way into this. I think Carmella more so, kind of just took advantage of the Fatal 4-Way. However, I think Carmella is crafty. I think she's smart at when it comes to this, when it comes to her professional wrestling style. And so, one way or another, I could certainly see either team winning. But if I had to give a genuine prediction, man, this is a tough one. This is a real tough one because obviously these are three SmackDown women, so you don't really want to see Monday Night Raw get embarrassed. But at the same time, when you look at it, Asuka's the only really major player I see when it comes to the other team, in the sense that Nikki Cross still needs a little bit more of legitimacy added to her name, as does Carmella because she's been out for so long. And whereas Raquel and Liv, they've really been just cleaning house here lately, and they had a tag match prior on Friday Night SmackDown, so they know each other very well. They've wrestled one another, they've wrestled with one another, so those two, I think are set. And adding Natalya to the mix, adding a girl who, she's no stranger to tag team wrestling, she's no stranger to, that type of environment. I think she'd be able to handle that. But if I had to give a prediction for this, I guess I would go with Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, and Natalia, due to the simple fact that I feel like somewhere throughout this match, I think this match is going to get super chaotic. I think this match is going to end in just a all-out brawl. And the tag team part's going to kind of get thrown away in the sense that everyone's going to kind of be entering the ring without any tags being made. It's just going to be an all-out brawl, and I'm all for it. I really, personally, I see someone like Liv Morgan standing tall, maybe someone like Asuka, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Natalia, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez, just because I feel like that team can really sneak up on you. I feel like they might be able to pull this one off, and so I'm going to go with that team for my predictions. Now, in terms of the men's Elimination Chamber, there's nothing that I've seen so far that really involves all of them. However, we are going to see Seth freaking Rollins on Miz TV, and I can only assume Austin Theory is going to somehow play a part in that due to the fact that Austin Theory was attacked last week by Seth Rollins. On top of that, Austin Theory and The Miz, obviously, they have a history. They are good friends. They've worked together before against the likes of Mustafa Ali. And so these two could most certainly, kind of just they could. I could see the Miz fighting. Well, actually, I'm sorry. The Miz is fighting tonight, but I could very well see the Miz getting involved against Seth Rollins. I could see the Miz teaming up against Seth Rollins with Austin Theory. But I don't know. It could go either way. It could work one way or the other. I think going into this Elimination Chamber, I think one of the major favorites besides Austin Theory is obviously Seth freaking Rollins, but that's kind of where you look at it and you realize you have all these other wrestlers that aren't being focused on, such as Montez Ford, such as Johnny Gargano, such as Bronson Reed and Damian Priest, all four of which are incredible talents, all four of which I think could do very well in the match, and so we could very well see them become new United States champions. I don't know. But with tonight and with this Miz TV special guest being Seth Rollins, we haven't seen Seth Rollins on a Miz TV almost ever, I don't think. And so I'm really invested in this. I'm really intrigued and I'm behind this. And so I would like to see where this is going to take them. I would like to see where this is going to go. I'm almost certain Austin Theory is going to have a role to play in this segment, as is maybe other members going into the Elimination Chamber match. Maybe it will lead to a match going on later tonight. I don't know. Now, talking about, because I did mention this a little bit just recently, a few minutes ago, Miz does have a match tonight against Rick Boogs. It is a rematch. Prediction-wise, I'm still going to go with Rick Boogs, just because I feel like The Miz has not been utilized right ever since Triple H took over. Ever since Triple H has been running the creative side, I feel like The Miz has been even less legitimate than he once was. And so I think The Miz, going into this, I think he's going to lose, personally, because I think it's only Rick Boogs' second match back. So if he loses, they're either going to continue this thing with him and The Miz, or he's going to win, and then he's going to go into, like, a U.S. title contendership, and he's going to kind of become, like, the Madcap Moss of Monday Night Raw for a little while, maybe. Or maybe we'll see Shinsuke Nakamura come back. I don't know. But we also have another major segment tonight, a contract signing between the Beast Brock Lesnar and the almighty Bobby Lashley. Now, this really, really intrigues me. Brock Lesnar, 2 weeks in a row, is going to Monday Night Raw. And this is now his third singles match against Bobby Lashley. And this rivalry has obviously the first part of this rivalry started all the way back in 2022 of the Royal Rumble. However, it's funny because these two I think a lot of people were looking forward to Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley facing off inside the Elimination Chamber in 2022 before Bobby Lashley was escorted out. And so this could be long-term storytelling in the sense that we could see Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley finally put an end to things at Elimination Chamber, which personally, I had said this before, I think it's going to go all the way to WrestleMania. However, I'd rather them put an end to it at Elimination Chamber due to the simple fact that I think the rivalry's been stretched out far enough. I think put things to an end come Elimination Chamber. Now, again, I had said this in last week's episode. I wasn't a big fan of Bobby Lashley's reaction to Brock Lesnar challenging him. I wasn't a big fan of Bobby Lashley saying, I need to talk to my manager, my lawyer, my assistant, that sort of thing. And so going into this contract signing, that means Bobby Lashley is accepted. That means Bobby Lashley is ready and he is prepared. And I am hoping that what that means is that we are going to see a very interesting segment tonight, especially since Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin both have kind of reunited with MVP in the Hurt Business. Omos seems to be a member of this new Hurt Business potentially. I don't know if we'll see Bobby Lashley in it. Maybe not soon, maybe eventually. But there does seem to be a little sliver right now of Bobby Lashley potentially joining the Hurt Business or potentially going against the Hurt Business after he accidentally speared MVP. But all in all, though, I just think, hands down, this is going to be very entertaining. I think this contract signing is probably going to end in some major chaotic thing. It reminds me of Brock Lesnar and Goldberg in the sense that I can only imagine the amounts of security they're going to have for this match. And so that's definitely something to look forward to. And I'm excited for this contract signing. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude the Monday Night Raw section of the match in terms of predictions. However, we are going to talk a little bit about... we're going to talk a little bit going into the CM Punk return. So, I had recently read earlier today that CM Punk had posted on his Instagram or his Twitter or whatever it was a video related to that of second chances, related to that of, you don't want to fail a second time, you don't want to make a second mistake. That's what some emphasizing somewhere around there, right? And, well, obviously this brings to mind a lot of people thinking that CM Punk is planning on coming back. And I say this because I actually did not know this. And I'm sorry if I ever gave any false information, but apparently CM Punk does still have a contract with AEW. Apparently CM Punk is still under contract with AEW. And I've heard many people say, oh, it's a work. It's just like when Malachi Black supposedly was released, but then he came back. First of all, I just want to get this out of the air. I know I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Malachi Black was partially released. It was a certain kind of release that it wasn't a full release, essentially. And Malachi Black chose to come back after he needed what he had considered a little bit of a break. That's why he had requested release. CM Punk, I don't care how many people say it was a work. That was not a work. There were lawyers involved. There were different investigations being undergone. That was not a work. That did happen. There was a fight. If CM Punk comes back, everything leading up after that, that might be a work. But the situation that happened was not a work. It might blossom into something that turns into a storyline, but the spawn, like the seed that was planted to start said storyline, if we ever get that storyline, that was a work. That was not a work. That was not scripted. That was real. Now, I'm not going to really give my opinion on if I want CM Punk back. You guys already know my opinion on CM Punk, my opinion on the guy, and on if I want him back or not. However, I am going to say that it does seem as though he is still under contract. It does seem as though he's on the road to recovery. It does seem, here lately especially, as though that the more I'm looking at it, the more I see a major storyline between the best in the world, CM Punk, and the best in the world, MJF. Because you can comment down below and say MJF's not the best in the world, but he is. He's AEW World Champion. He is, 3-4 years now, a Dynamite Diamond ring holder. He's the only Dynamite Diamond ring holder. He is a god on the microphone. He barely loses. He's a generational talent, just like he says he is. I can honestly say he's better than CM Punk in the sense that this guy, for those of you that might disagree with me, this guy actually got the crowd of Chicago to turn against CM Punk at All Out. People were chanting MJF while CM Punk stood in the center of the ring in his hometown after just winning the AEW World Championship. You can't tell me MJF is not more entertaining. You can't tell me MJF is not one of the best in the world, if not more than that of CM Punk. CM Punk is either his equal or he is better than CM Punk, but he is not lesser than that of CM Punk. I can tell you that right now. But all that being said, if CM Punk were to come back, I think it could work. However, I do personally believe with what many people have said after what happened between him and the Elite, I do think many people are correct in saying that he doesn't like the younger talent. He doesn't get along with the younger talent. I believe exactly what Eddie Kingston said, exactly what Hangman Adam Page said. There are so many people in the back of the AEW locker room that do not like CM Punk. There are many people in the back that did not want CM Punk to show up. And I'm not sure who those people are. I'm not sure which names they are. And I'm not planning on finding out what names they are. However, I can honestly say that I don't disagree. I think there are many younger talent, many modern talent that CM Punk does not get along with, that does not like CM Punk. And it's not, I'm trying to be a little impartial here because I've already shared my thoughts on the guy, and so I'm not going to continue that. I'm simply giving information, and that information is that it's seeming more and more likely that CM Punk is going to potentially return. Now, if he is to come back, I do think something needs to change with his contract, whether it be how much he be paid, how much he wins and loses, because the guy rarely loses. He was given an AEW World Championship match, I want to say exactly not even one full year of him being signed to AEW. On top of that, he won on his first time trying to get that title. Bryan Danielson did not pull that off. Adam Cole was not able to pull that off. And that's not to say that they are better than CM Punk. It's to say that those are also two big names that are on par with CM Punk, and unfortunately couldn't get the job done their first go-round, but yet somehow CM Punk could. Kind of interesting, don't you think? But all that being said, if he were to come back, I do think it would make for an interesting storyline. However, I don't know how the fans would react, because we saw how they were when the Elite came back. Everyone was chanting F CM Punk, and the only time I heard anyone kind of chant for CM Punk at all was when they were in Chicago. And even then, it didn't feel as hostile or as negative as it would have been in like even when they were in Chicago, MJF was there, and MJF was still getting cheered. And that goes to show that they hated the Elite for what was going on, but they are still on the side of MJF. And so if CM Punk were to come back, if CM Punk was to face MJF like everyone wanted to see, I think MJF would ultimately be the babyface. He would ultimately be exactly what he said he was going to be. He would be better than Moses. He would be the savior of AEW, and he would cleanse AEW of that of CM Punk. That is personally what I believe. But all that being said, it does seem likely. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just giving my opinion. It could very well happen. But all that being said, it just kind of depends on what CM Punk wants. It depends on what the company wants. It depends on his injury, all that sort of thing. It depends on if he can continue this, if he can't, if his body will hold up, if it won't, that sort of thing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hear more, if you want me to comment more on CM Punk, if you want to hear me talk more about CM Punk, comment down below. You know what I mean? Like this video, comment down below. Tell me your thoughts. Do I talk too much about CM Punk? Do I not talk enough about CM Punk? Give me your opinion. where do you stand with CM Punk? Do you want him to come back? Do you not want him to come back? What was your opinion at All Out, Media Scrum, that sort of thing? Tell me. Give me your opinion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude today's episode. As always, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Tomorrow's episode will contain the results from last night's Monday Night Raw as well as predictions for tomorrow night's NXT, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.